Howard Opinsky, former Republican strategist. Howard, great to have you with us. You were an aide to the late Senator for Arizona, John McCain. And many people over the weekend have been circulating John McCain's 2008 concession speech, namely to draw a contrast with the situation that we find ourselves in today, where the incumbent president is not conceding and is not really showing any signs of conceding in the near future. How do you see this playing out?
Well, first off, thanks for having me. It's unclear at the moment exactly how it turns out, but I think the country feels as though it's moving towards the conclusion of the election. There was great celebration over the weekend when networks here declared the race formally for Vice President-elect Biden, President-elect Biden and Vice President-elect Harris. So it feels as though the machinery of government is moving towards a transition, but it doesn't seem as though President Trump is planning on conceding, and his language is very much leaning towards challenging the election results. It doesn't necessarily need a concession speech. President Trump doesn't have to concede the race, but it would be unprecedented, I think, for that to be the case. And the country really could use benefit from the losing candidate to call for unity and to pledge support for Vice President and President-elect Biden. But we'll see what the days ahead have in store.
So even though President Trump has lost this election, he's not admitted it yet, but he has lost the election, it's worth pointing out that he has mobilized millions of people to come out and vote. 70 million people in the U.S. did vote for President Trump. And the Republicans managed to defend the Senate and actually make gains within the House. Putting all of that together, what do you think this means for President Trump's standing within the Republican Party? Does the party move on away from President Trump, or does Trumpism persist?
No, I think President Trump is a force in the Republican Party and, frankly, a force in the country for a long time to come. The election results were actually quite good for Republicans outside of the presidency, which is certainly going to be a crushing blow for Republicans. But they gained seats in the House, only lost one seat in the Senate in a year where they thought they would lose several. But President Trump's governing agenda was very much supported in many quarters across the country, and he certainly has the wherewithal to continue to be a force in Republican politics through his Twitter feed and through television appearances. So I don't think the country or the world has seen the last of Donald Trump by a long shot, and the Republican Party is certainly strongly within the grips of him and his supporters.
Any appetite from the Republicans who did get reelected to actually work with the Democrats on the other side? And do you think there's actually room for impactful policy to be delivered, given that the composition is pretty much the same people we had during the Trump term? You still got Pelosi in the House, and you've got Mitch McConnell.
Well, I'm hopeful that there can be some compromise. I mean, Joe Biden certainly served in the Senate for many years. He knows Mitch McConnell well. He knows the other senators well. I think the outlines and the personal chemistry is there to perhaps have some coalitions created that can pass some legislation. And also the gravity of the moment. I mean, the COVID crisis is growing here as it is throughout Europe again. The economic devastation that's come as a result of that is also, I think, creates an environment where we really do need some level of compromise. So I think that there can be some here in the early going. I think that both Vice President Harris and President Biden, President-elect, know how to create compromise, and they know how to forge that kind of compromise across the aisle. And I think that the muscle memory is still there within the Republican caucus in the Senate anyway, to reach that kind of compromise. So I'm hopeful, but the coming days will tell. First test will be in this lame duck process, which is when the Congress comes back here shortly this week even, and we'll see if anything can get done even before the new Biden-Harris administration comes into power.